I'm going to introduce to you a very special lady, okay? Her name is Adenike Oyetunde. She's a lawyer, though she doesn't actively practice. She's delved into the world of media. She's a radio OAP. She's the only one that has a legal show on air, taking on topical issues and helping to solve numerous problems. Her passion. She's going to talk a lot about her passion, but I'll just give you a little brief. Okay, so her passion is driving conversations around the plight of disability in Nigeria, and it's led her to establish the Amputees United Initiative, a social group specifically for amputees. Help me to give an amazing, amazing welcome to Adenike Oyetunde.
Thank you. So permit me to sit here. They had asked me if I wanted to go on stage, and I'm like, nah, this is preferable. So every opportunity for me is a teachable moment. So I'm hoping that the management of FirstBank will make every single FirstBank branch disability accessible, and it goes beyond the ramps. Get ATMs that people on wheelchair can use. So if you already have them, please put out the word. More people need to know that FirstBank is disability friendly. Okay? So, I'm here to talk about support and welfare, and two incidences occurred as I was stepping in. I want to say a huge thank you to Irene Netima. I just met her, whilst I was trying to make my way in, and she was the first person who noticed that I wasn't proceeding. Why? Because a gentleman had mopped the floor, and it was wet, and it is crutches. So, yeah, the possibility to slip is very high. So I was patient enough to wait, and then she walked up to me and said, "Oh, I noticed you can't go past that. It's actually very wet. Do you mind waiting?" I'm like, "Of course I'm going to wait." And then she remembered and said, "Oh, I hear you. Thank you very much. I listened to you on radio. And the moment I heard you were coming, I was excited. So I said, I can't hug you, coronavirus, but thank you very much." And that's, the second incident that occurred is very, very symbolic, because I've been asked this afternoon to talk about support and welfare. So before getting into the second time, I told the usher that was with me that I have a fear for when the elevator doors closes. I don't do very well. So she said, "Okay, let's wait for another one." I said, "No, let's just press and let's see if it will work." Because I've tried so many elevators where they will tell you it has body sensitivity. My brothers, my sisters, by the time you enter, I just realized this thing's about to press you. So we pressed it and noticed that it was working. And then we got into the elevator. And I can't remember the number of other passengers that were in there. And we said the customary hello, hello, and all of that. So I was about to step out. I had two things. I had "after you," and I had "Madam, please be fast." I'm recounting this experience not because I'm trying to share that it's a bad experience, but I want us to realize that support and welfare is very intentional. It's very, very intentional. I was 20 when I lost my limb. I'm an only child of both my parents. I was my second year law undergrad, and people would often ask me, "How did you do it? How did you do it?" The first question is, what other option did I have? My mom was about to lose her mind and all of that drama. So I had to be strong for them first before finding my own strength. And 14 years living with disability in Nigeria is one of the hardest things that can happen to any single person. But the reality that we always fail to forget is in just 1 minute, it can happen to any single person. I have met people on this journey who, if anyone had told them in their lifetime, I lost my limb to cancer. So, and it was from a domestic form. Okay, by the way, before I forget, I keep forgetting, I have a book, a few copies of my book outside, and I'll be signing that after this. And I actually did chronicle in detail what exactly happened. And that book resonates with me, not because I wrote it, but because that book encapsulates what it means to have support. So, losing the limb, what else? What other choice did I have? To either not go back to school or go to school and move on with life. Of course, I chose to go back to school and finish. And then I finished my undergrad, and then I went to law school, and then I served, and then I qualified as HR personnel, and then emotional intelligence, and then media, and then broadcasting, and then author, and the list continues to grow. But the interesting thing for me is, in 14 years, I have seen a reality I never knew existed. A reality I never knew existed just next door. And what we then realize is, people see the physicality of my disability, but fail to realize that many more people are living with a form of disability, mental health. People don't talk about it. So, and I'm going to share my own personal experience, especially with relationship, because we're women. I recently met my fiance's parents, and I remember him saying that he wasn't apprehensive about me meeting his mother, but he was not sure, because the typical African mother can be very dramatic. And Avena is going to be fine, but in my heart, hey, Jesus, what if this woman says no? But the interesting thing is, I have met all his other siblings. I have met his nieces and nephews, and we have all connected. So he told me something. He said, I never once told any member of my family that you live with disability. He said, because I want them to meet you beyond disability. And it really warmed my heart. So I meet his dad, and his dad hugs me and says, I've been waiting to meet you all this while. And the first thing he said was, I have read your book 3 times, and I was intrigued, and I wanted to see the person behind the story. And me, I'm very emotional. I was even fighting my fiance, why didn't you record it? These are moments you don't allow to pass. And, you know, he said, I didn't think about it. It was such a beautiful and warm welcome into the family. I met everybody but the parents. So, he literally met, even if Momsi said, there is no, everybody will shout, beg, Mom was your own, leave them alone. But then he told me something. He said, I don't think you realize that my nephews and nieces have a stronger relationship with you than they do me. And I smiled. You know why? Recently, I remember that when I was in secondary school, very unconnected, I had no business. I would randomly pray about, not necessarily about marriage. I've never fantasized about getting married, walking down the aisle, wedding dress, all those things that regular women do now. But I'd always pray about relationships. And I was very specific. I don't know where I got the prayer ideas from. I would always say, but the man that would date me would not just love me, but his extended family would love me so much. And it's been such an amazing circle of support for my fiance's, family, nuclear and extended. And us telling them, oh, we're going to get married, and everybody was excited. One of them was even crying. I'm like, yeah, he must really like me. So before meeting him, if a guy would come to me and say, oh, I like you, first thing I'll tell them is, you better be very sure you like me. Because if you introduce me to your family today, I said, till you die, they'll continue to ask you, Adenike. I said, it's not because it's just my personality. I have a very likable personality. I know how to connect with people, different people. And I'm saying it and owning it because that is who I am. But I found out that many people who are living with disability do not have this experience. And 3 in 5 of those stories have been women who have literally sworn that you will never come into this family. Younger brothers going home and telling their older sisters, oh, I'm about to date this girl, but she has one hand. Never, over my dead body. I have hardly ever heard a story about a parent refusing. It usually has been siblings and more women. And I've been asking myself, is it from a place of fear? Is it from a place of worry? Is it from a place of love? But I found out that a lot of it is from a place of insecurity. And whenever any person living with disability will come crying to me, I would always tell them I don't have the answers as to why they did not allow the relationship thrive. But one thing I notice is that nobody likes a liability. So it's probably time for you to work on yourself. Work on yourself, look presentable, work on your self-esteem, go and make some money. If you visit the house and you go there, even if it's Uber or Taxify that takes you there, and they see when you get out from the car, they are not shabbily dressed. You smell nice. Your makeup is properly done. Your hair is neat. I promise you that no family, they'll take a second look and say, okay, so this person is not. But by the time you go disoriented, you are scattered. They are wondering, they are protecting the interests supposedly of their loved one. And in that bid, they are trying to stop the possibility of a relationship or marriage. I know of a few people who had to live with acquired disability and whose spouses walked out of the marriages. 2 kids down the line, the guy remembers that, oh, he had another girlfriend before he met his wife. Lost a limb in a car crash and messed up her, like literally messed up. She paused her life for like 5 years. I can go on and on about it. So when you reach the family of the partner to mediate, who have we found behind us? Usually the women. I can't continue. Our brother has come to complain. It's not possible. No. She has 1 leg. No. But she had 2 legs when they had their first child. She had the car crash. Your brother saw her. She got pregnant with the 2nd child. He didn't have a problem there. She carried that child to full term. He didn't have a problem. The child is 2 and 3. He didn't have a problem. So now he wakes up one morning and realizes that he has a problem with the fact that his wife is now recently living with disability. And that has become the problem. In that instance, there's really nothing you can tell a man who has zoned out. And that's even if you find a man to even meet. Someone that is evasive. Phone call, he's not picking. Physical address, you don't know because he's moved out of the home. But what hurts me the most is when I see that a lot of the people who are not even helping or people who are not trying to mediate, create an environment where both of them can talk and even agree that, okay, this is not working. It has usually been the women in the family. And it really, really breaks my heart. Really does break my heart. It doesn't cost so much to be kind. But because we do not take intentions to be conscious about it, we just live our lives and just move on. We are the ones that are always very hot-headed. We are the ones that claim that this is how I am or this is how my mother was. Excuse me. You can actually experience a better version of yourself. Because what you're exhibiting is probably what your environment has programmed you. Every child is born a clean slate. Every single child is born as a clean slate. I don't know how to swim. I don't know how to eat boiled egg. You pick these things up. You probably heard your mother say she's scared of swimming and she's scared of water, and that's it. It's just stuck in your subconscious. We fail to realize that our subconscious actually controls a lot more than our conscious part. And then we just act anyhow to anybody. I don't know anyone in this auditorium who has a family member, a child, a spouse, a relative who is living with any form of disability. But if I ask by show of hands, I can promise you that people will raise up their hands. Physical disability, cerebral palsy, autism. The list is endless. But the reality is we don't make the environment even conducive for us. We cannot thrive. Every single time I'm in a car and I stop at the traffic light and I see someone living with disability, it breaks my heart. But what I've come to realize is a lot of them do not want to be helped. You want to give them crutches. So crutches cost about $9. But you see people begging on the road with wood. You need a walking aid. And because you don't have the capacity, you can't afford it. So a lot of them, you see them with badly used crutches. One too many times, going out and I see you and I'll just give you my crutches. Say, don't worry, I have an extra one at home. You go back to that place. Guess what? They sold it. They're not using it. So you begin to ask yourself, what exactly is happening? Why are we not paying attention to our minds? What is going on with our minds? Who are the people to nurture these people? Where are the women in their families? Where are the women in their lives? What did the women do to raising the men in these families? We have paid so much attention to the female for such a long time that now my generation is facing a huge problem with the men that we have to relate with. Women now have higher earning power than their partners. Women don't share the experiences of how they have more money than their partners, but it's okay. But nobody talks about it. So the ones that want to share about it on social media, we want to consume them and say they are too woke. When in reality, a lot of us are living what these girls are talking about. It's time for us to show that we genuinely care about ourselves. It's time for us to show that we are concerned about the next person. There are people in your churches, in your estates, that you know have children living with disability. When have you ever knocked on their doors to say, okay, do you want to take a break, an hour, nap? I will care for these children. It's the little things. I live with disability. It's 14 years. And it's amazing how random people will just send me messages and say, I just want to check up on you. Are you okay? With no premise, none whatsoever. Not because they want anything, not because they want you to connect them to anyone, but because they are genuinely concerned. And I find that a lot of people who do that to me, I'm a recipient of more women helping me than men. I'm a recipient of women pulling me up than men. So I'm one person who has enjoyed women supporting women beyond the hashtag. And that's the truth, and that's my own reality. So I'm really, really, really hoping that we see beyond our challenges. Every single one of us is faced with one challenge or the other. You have no idea the volume of problems that people are faced with. I posted something on Instagram 2 days ago. Someone just reached out to me that the lady who used to work behind the insurance company is down with chronic kidney failure. I don't have 12 million naira to give her. I said, okay, I have a few followers on social media. I will visit the family. And I posted it on social media. Yesterday, they called me, and I want my auntie, don't give them my number. Don't bother giving them. She called me yesterday to say that the family is overwhelmed, that they've been able to raise about 600,000. And I smiled and I thought to myself, we are going to 12 million. You people are making noise about 6. Okay, gratitude, I accept it. Thank you very much. But people who have reached out are people who have said, I've spent my 1,000 naira to them. I've sent my 500. We are so consumed with the volume of doing big things that we forget that it's the minutest of things that matter. Someone is on a wheelchair and is trying to cross the road. That's when we know we want to honk. You know, people ask me weird questions. Someone asked me if I can get pregnant. Because he was older. I wanted to give him reply in Yoruba, but I remembered my mother. I just smiled. How daft. You know, it's the women, and this is the honest truth, it's the women who have asked me the most careless questions the most. Men are usually constrained. They don't, and this is my experience. And I chose to talk about disability because we are in an environment where it's women, the woman at the workplace. How many people living with physical disability or people living with disability have you employed? It's so bad that I have someone that has a database for people who can work, but nobody wants to employ them. I work. It doesn't stop my job. That you were working on the job and you lost usage of your hand doesn't mean you cannot be moved to another department. Come and go. You're now writing. No, it doesn't work that way. And we think that it's not just about the fanfare. It's a ticking time bomb. There are over almost 20 million of us in Nigeria, different forms of disability, but we fail to just consider them or think about them. Why? Because I don't have disability. Nobody in my immediate family has, so it does not concern me. You don't have to experience it. You don't have to walk in my shoes to understand what it is I'm going through. People have asked me very silly questions. In fact, one doctor was toasting me one time. So out of curiosity, you know people that you meet this week, the next week when they are sending you a message, you'll say, I love you. So I just asked him that. but we just met. What exactly is it about me that you love? And outside, no, he just really loves me. Please, let me even tell you how I met him. I was waiting for a free ride at the bus stop, my friend and I. So I was still in university. He gave us a free ride to school. And then he was doing his master's, I remember. And he gave us the ride. Weekly, a free ride. I gave him my number. Just call us when you're almost at our junction. Next week, I love you. As how? From where? Do you know that when I probed further, he actually has a condition called acropotomophilia. There are people who are intrigued by people who have limb losses. They want to try different things. They want to try sexual positions. They want to know what it means to be with somebody who's living disability. And how did he confess? The Olori Rayman now told me that his ex before me also had a condition. So I now asked him that, perchance we are guinea pig. We are just doing... I had never in my life even understood that that category of human beings exist. Then when it happened to me, I then watched something on, I remember I was on DSTV, and then chronicling the story of a man who actually had an attraction to people with one hand or one leg. I'm like, oh wow, this is really a thing. So imagine the process I had to go through to ensure that you are toasting me. I'm not sure if you really like me. You are toasting me. I'm not really. I couldn't have done the choice with my own human mind. That's the honest truth. But the people who had helped me the most, the people who had said, this guy looks like he likes you. Maybe you should just give him women. They've helped me. But the people, on the other hand, who have also been, suffered, the other end of this story, have also suffered at the hands of women. So today, you employ people. You work in a corporate organization, a lot of us here. The question is, how many people living with special needs have you employed? And I survived polio, doesn't mean I can't get to work. I went for an interview. Let me give you a gist. I went for an interview 2 years ago. They now call me back. So early this year, they now called me. I now forgot that I went. When they now called me, the man now told my friend that referred me again that, they remember me, that I came that time. They did not want to disturb me. That's why they didn't give me the job. But I didn't come to your office to gist with you. I came for job interview. So why are you over caring for me and thinking that you don't want to disturb me? But I want a job. And that's to tell you how people do not know how to express their love and concern a lot of the times. People have asked different questions. People continue to ask questions. But the question really is, as a human being and as a woman, how much support do you show the person next door? How much support do you show the person who's in your family? How much support do you show your colleague? Did you know how many of us do not even know the first names of the people who are places of work? We don't even know the first names of the people who clean at the office, the people who will send on errands at work. A lot of us don't know. A lot of us don't know where they live. We don't know whether they have children, whether they are married. I have my own problems. I beg, take your own problem. But you see, that 5 minutes, 10 minutes conversation changes the trajectory of that person's mindset forever. Humanity should be what you come first. In anything that you do, in any single thing that you do, if you amass wealth, when you go, even if your family members bury you with money, it means nothing on the other side. Absolutely nothing. But the lives that you touch, the families that you change, the impact that you make will continue to speak for you for generations to come. So today, I want us to task ourselves and ask ourselves genuinely, when have I actually noticed first the person living with special needs? My church? My estates? You know why people hide their children with special needs? Because we talk too much. We talked so much. Imagine finding out after living, staying in the compound with a family for 14 years that they have a child living with autism that you have never seen. So one day the family forgets to lock the veranda door and you start to hear noise because the entire family has gone out. And then you look outside and you notice that somebody is banging the door. And then you call, are you guys home? They say, no, we're not home, we're going out, but we can hear noises in your apartment. Then they come back and they finally open to you to say, yes, that we have a 14-year-old who is living with cerebral palsy, who has never stepped. This story is not gist. A story I know that happens to someone in their estate. 14 good years. They visited that home, and members of that home also visited their home. Not once did they ever know or disclose that they had a child with special needs. So now that you find out that your neighbor has a child with special needs, what do? It's a long list because that family on their own, they need therapy. And it's not your job. Don't go and assume professional and go and carry what is not your property. But if you can point them in the right direction, they would always thank you. If you can pay for family sessions for them, 3 family sessions, they will see the usefulness and see why they should continue. That is what humanity is about. That is what support and care is about. It goes beyond, why don't you have a prosthetic limb? Not every amputee wants one. It's only here that everybody expects that if they amputate your leg today, tomorrow you have prosthesis. It's a journey. I've had 2, I've had 3. It's a journey for a lot of people. But I find that it's the women. Hey, is it not more stressful with crutches? And will you find a man to like you like this? Auntie. Someone even told me, because I used to have colored hair, someone even told me that maybe it's because I colored my hair gold, that I don't have a boyfriend. So I now reminded her, Nancy, maybe you don't want to respect yourself, I will help you. I reminded her and told her that, that's your 2 daughters that have black hair. We've been waiting since, so. This thing I'm saying, they did family missing on my head. My mother called me and she was raging. She said she was very surprised because that's not my nature. I said exactly the point. You've never called me to ask me what my welfare, how are you, how is school, what's the plan for your life, what's your purpose, what's your destiny. I'm waiting to wear your gele. She should have taken a cue. I asked her, Auntie, what color of gele do you want? Let me tell mommy to send it to you. She did not see her sense. And I said, maybe it's the color of your hair. They now went to report me in family group. Please, was I wrong? I was not wrong. Anybody that doesn't want to respect themselves, sometimes you just help them realize. Since that day, when she sees me like this, how are you? She now genuinely will inquire from me how I'm doing. And I know it's not from the standpoint of so she can tick boxes, but she really does want to know. And that is what support and caring for someone actually means. So the next time you see, not all of us living with special needs want help. Because you know the stages of grief. Acceptance, now fight. Now between I can do all things, I can do all things. I passed that stage. You need to prove to the world I'm not a superwoman. I have dropped the cloak long ago. I'm not. Because that's another pressure I realize that society placed on me. I can do all things. You have solution. Anybody, once somebody sees somebody with living with disability like this, anywhere in Nigeria, Adenike, so I just saw this guy. What should I do with him? That's my new answer. What should I do with him? Because we fail to realize that the fact that that person's story is touching you as a person, that person is probably your primary assignment. And it's intrusive for me, who they've never seen or known. You need to give me their number and say, call them. So today, I genuinely hope that if there's anything we take out from the few minutes I've spoken for, is the fact that the next time you see or someone opens up to you that they have a child, a sibling, a partner, they're interested romantically in anybody who's living with special needs, your first question should not be, I didn't know other people. Try to know that person beyond their special needs. we are not a combination of what we see on the outside. After all, I don't know how to translate it in English. It means that cloth is what's covering all of us. Makeup. Because by the time people start to unveil and you start to see what people are going through, you realize that, okay, truly everyone has something that they're going through. So again, my name is Adenike. You people don't hold my hand. I brought a few copies of my book. Come and buy for your family and friends. God bless you very much.